So, what are the biggest matchups of 2024 in the UFC? Well, today, guys, we're going to be working that out. I've got the fighters all around the screen that I think are going to be involved in some of the biggest matches in UFC this year that I think are going to happen. And I'm going to talk about them, explain maybe who I think is going to win, and explain just why I think it's going to happen, and I give my opinion on it. So without further ado, let's get started. Subscribe if you enjoy the video, by the way, guys. Starting off with Islam Makhachev versus Leon Rocky Edwards. Now, I know people are going to say, no. Makhachev's announced his fight plan. He wants to fight the winner of Saruki and Oliveira, and then he's going to fight Gaethje. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Islam's going to get sick of cutting weight. I think he's probably going to fight one more time in lightweight, which would match up really with Leon Edwards' schedule, because he's going to want to break, because I do presume he is going to be fighting on UFC 300. It's a pretty quick turnaround for him. He usually fights once a year at most, and he's going to want to take a break, so their schedule should line up for a welterweight matchup for Leon's belt in the latter half of the year. I'm saying maybe October, September, maybe on that Abu Dhabi card. I think it'd be a bit unfair on Leon to make him defend his own belt, his own weight class's belt in Abu Dhabi. But I guess they could make the argument, look, you've been to London and fought there and defended your belt, so let's make it fair and you go there. And this is a matchup that I think will happen at welterweight. I think it's a very good matchup. I want to see this fight. I think Makhachev will beat anyone at 155, and I don't really think there's too much of a challenge there for him, because the person with the most solid ground game really that isn't Sarukian is Oliveira, and he can't compete with Makhachev. He's too good, his striking's too sharp, and he's better than Oliveira on the ground. And I just think, although Gaethje stands a really good chance on the feet, I just think as soon as he gets taken down, he's going to be in an absolute world of trouble, and that is why I do not like that matchup for him. So what am I saying? I'm saying this matchup is good because it's close. I think Leon's got really underrated wrestling. I mean, look what he did to Kobe. He's got far superior striking to a lot of these guys. I think the only person that Islam can currently fight in his division on similar levels to Leon is Gaethje. Obviously, I know they fight very differently, but Armin isn't very skilled on the feet, I don't think. Oliveira makes mistakes. He's sloppy. Whereas Leon controlled, absolutely destroyed Kobe on the feet. He had nothing for him. And I just think it's a great fight. I could see this going either way. I've actually made a video on it about 7 months ago, maybe, on my channel. Go and check that out. I did predict Leon would win, and honestly, I still give him a good chance to win. I think this will be closer. Islam won't have a massive size advantage here. Leon will be the bigger guy, which will be a first in Islam's career. And it's a fight I'm really interested in, and I hope it happens. Moving on. So this one's kind of confirmed, but McGregor-Chandler. Now, I still think this is going to be one of the biggest fights of the year. It's a McGregor fight. Of course, it's going to be a big fight. You know, even casual fans are interested in this stuff. Like, people that don't really watch UFC will tune in for this. And it's literally because it's Conor McGregor. He's the biggest star in the UFC ever, and probably will be for the next 10 years. I can't really see anyone else coming on. And this fight will do really well. It will probably do over 1 million pay-per-views if it has a good co-main event. Sean O'Malley should probably be looking at trying to get on that card, but it might be a bit too early for his schedule. But this is a fight that I actually think is going to happen this time, you know, barring some spectacular injury. McGregor has announced it. I think he will actually end up doing this. And he hasn't fought in a long time. Neither is Chandler. He's finally getting it. This guy's been out for like a year and a half, 2 years. It's just waiting for this fight. Which is really cringe, to be honest, and kind of desperate, but he's probably going to get paid a load of money, and he knows that if he wins, he can brag about, oh, I was never champion, but I beat Conor McGregor. I think this will happen. I'm not going to say too much about this, because this has been talked about a lot before, because this is, like, kind of confirmed. McGregor's confirmed it, but, you know, McGregor says a lot of things, so we don't really know what's true, but I do think this will happen this year on the scheduled day, and that's going to be a big fight, and it should sell really well. We move on. Adesanya versus Alex Pereira 3. Now, I think this will happen this year. I think this will be maybe Alex Pereira's next title defense. Maybe not, I don't know. But if it's not Jamal Hill, it probably will be Israel Adesanya. The reason being, it's going to do a lot of pay-per-views. The UFC want it, and I can imagine Adesanya probably wants it too, because he was the last person to beat Pereira and he knocked him out, and Pereira's going to want it too because he thinks he can beat Adesanya, and also he's got a size advantage 100% at light heavyweight. I do think this will be at light heavyweight. In my eyes, I see no advantages for Pereira to move down because Adesanya is not the champion, so there's no belt incentive. And to be honest, Alex stands a better chance at light heavyweight. He doesn't have to cut as much. Adesanya can definitely make middleweight easier than Pereira can, and Pereira at light heavyweight is going to be a lot bigger than Adesanya, so he shouldn't have to worry too much about grappling exchanges because his natural weight should just kind of make up for the lack of experience he has there, even though he went toe to toe more or less with Izzy. But yeah, I think this fight probably will happen. Like I said, there's incentives for both men. It will do well. They'll get pay-per-view stuff. And this will probably headline a pay-per-view. I don't really see how this wouldn't, unless it's on the McGregor card, but they aren't going to do that because they know this will sell anyway. This will do minimum 800,000 buys, 900,000 buys, I reckon. I think this is a really promotable one. These guys are pretty much mainstream. The rematch was really hype. That went all over Twitter, that crazy knockout in the memes when Pereira got knocked out by Izzy. And the first one was really big too. So yeah, I think this is big. This would be the UFC trilogy. So they're both 1-1. So I know Alex Pereira's up. Is it 3-1 now, or is it 4-1? I can't even remember. He's up 3-1 or 4-1. But this is 1-1 in the UFC, so they're gonna want to win to tie their ones, make it 2-1, which is obviously the best of three. So it makes sense that they're going to do it. Thought this might be the UFC 300 main event, but I've heard it rumored that Adesanya's injured, so I don't think it'll be on there. We move on. Ciryl Gane versus Tom Aspinall. Now, Tom Aspinall has said he doesn't want this fight, but I think he's going to get forced into this fight because John Jones doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall, okay? He's ducking him hard. You can all cope in the comments and say, oh, Jones is the GOAT. He needs to fight Stipe. He's the heavyweight GOAT. Stipe's washed, okay? John Jones knows it's an easy win with a big paycheck. If John Jones gets that fight, I doubt he'll even train half as much as he would have for Ciryl Gane, because honestly, Stipe's so washed. He's 42. He's coming off a knockout from Francis Ngannou. So you don't want to get knocked out by him, out of all people. And he didn't look good in his last fight, okay? He lost the first round. It wasn't like he got fluke KO'd. He looked bad. It was a long time ago. He's only going to have got worse. And he got knocked out viciously. So there's no interest in that personally. But Jones isn't going to fight Aspinall. And he's going to have to end up fighting someone. And it's probably going to be Ciryl Gane for the interim belt. With the promise being a title shot. Or you get the vacant title maybe, because from what I've gathered, Jones is probably going to retire when he beats Stipe, because I think that's the fight that's going to happen. And then these two will probably either duel for the interim belt or for the real belt. I think this will be the fight. People are saying Ciryl Gane should fight Almeida. I think he should. I agree, but I don't think he will. I think they're going to make Pavlovich Almeida. I think that's a winnable fight for Pavlovich. He's going to want to take that, but Almeida will also think he can win that, coming off and just knocked out Pavlovich. Pretty good. But yeah, this fight will happen. I think Tom Aspinall would beat Ciryl Gane. I think he'd finish him in 2 rounds. I think he'd take him down and finish him. And I don't want Ciryl Gane to win another fight in the UFC because he's a disappointment for failing and looking so terrible against John Jones after I picked him, which was one of my worst picks ever, to be honest, guys. And he just gets too many title shots. And I think he's going to get this one. I think he's going to get this opportunity he doesn't deserve after one win against an opponent who I don't think's amazing in Sergey Spivak. I don't think he's that high caliber. He should fight Almeida, but I don't think he will. He's ducking, and I think it's going to work out well for him. Seems like there's a lot of heavyweight ducking going on, and the one guy that ain't ducking, Tom Aspinall, is getting punished. But yeah, there you go. Moving on, Sean O'Malley versus Sandhagen. Now, people are going to go, no, he's going to fight Merab. I don't think O'Malley's going to fight Merab. I think he's going to duck him because Merab isn't a very winnable matchup for him. I think he will probably lose that fight. So I think he should avoid that fight at all costs for his personal benefit. And I think he's going to make a case that Sandhagen deserves the fight. And I think that is what's going to happen. I know he's booked with Vera right now, but he will probably beat Vera. I am picking him in that fight to win that, probably by decision. And I think this will be his next fight. He'll take a good bit of time. And I think he'll probably only fight twice this year. I'd be surprised if he fights 3 times. And I think this will be his second fight. And he just needs to basically avoid Merab for as long as possible, because Merab's actually pretty old. And Sean O'Malley's young, so he will deteriorate over time. And this is a fight that is very 50-50 in my opinion. O'Malley's actually probably better than Sandhagen on the feet, but Sandhagen could wrestle, but we'll see. Both pretty big bantamweights, so it'll be interesting to see what happened. I think the odds would be pretty much split even on these ones. Sandhagen may be a slight favourite, but I don't know. O'Malley could be a favourite as well, because we know he does actually turn up to big fights, and also he beat Peter Yan. Sandhagen didn't, and he got dropped by him, and he didn't really drop Yan, whereas O'Malley did, but we're playing MMA math there, so we may not look into that much, but that's what I think. Is it a massive fight? No, but it's the biggest fight that I can think of in the bantamweight division. Cody Garbrandt's fighting Davison Figueiredo, but Cody's getting knocked out cold in that guy, so he's not a huge star anymore, and he won't be when he gets flatlined. So moving on. Sean Strickland versus Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev. Now, I think this is probably going to happen. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. Khamzat would genuinely be throwing his career if he hasn't got a title shot by the end of 2024. But I think he will. He'll probably fight once before and get the title shot, and it would work schedule-wise, because I do think Sean O'Malley will probably beat Dricus du Plessis. It's very close. He's just a slight favourite, but I think he will get the late finish or win a decision against a tired du Plessis after surviving the first round or two. I just think he's going to pressure du Plessis so much he's going to gas. But this is a fight that I think eventually will happen. It's going to be pretty big. Yes, Khamzat isn't as good as we all thought he was. He's not inhuman. Like a lot of people thought he was in his first few UFC fights. He's actually quite beatable, and Sean would take this matchup. He's not scared of Khamzat, I don't think. He's definitely got a huge cardio advantage, boxing advantage as well. Obviously, he probably doesn't have the wrestling advantage, but Sean Strickland's wrestling is good, so I don't see why he wouldn't take this fight. And it would do well. Not as well as it would have done if Chimaev fought him when he was in his I look like I can't lose to anyone era, but that's over now because of the Usman fight and the Gilbert Burns fight, really. But I think this will happen. Khamzat will eventually get his shot, probably in the latter half of the year. He needs to win one more fight. I don't think they'll rush him into a title shot, and I think that will happen. And give me Sean Strickland to win. I think he'll be maybe a slight underdog, but I think he'll probably win it again. I think Sean Strickland will probably finish 2024 as the UFC champion. He's still fairly young. I think he'll be 33 by the time the year ends, which for a middleweight is pretty young. And I think he might finish 2024 as the champ. So and the final fight is, I've already been speaking about it. It's John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Now, granted, no one cares about this fight, but it's technically a big fight because it's John Jones and he's quite famous and has a lot of fans. So because they always hate on me in my comments when I say he isn't the greatest of all time. But this fight is probably going to happen, barring another injury. Wouldn't surprise me, seeing as these two are both pretty old. John Jones is going to win this fight. It's an easy paycheck, easy money. I really don't think he's going to be fighting Aspinall. He knows it's a tough fight and he may lose it. So that's why I'm saying that. I think it's probably going to happen when Jones is back. I mean, he'll still beat Stipe even coming off that injury, because Stipe's so washed now, guys. He's so terrible. It's such a shame. And he's undersized as well. He's way smaller than him anyway. So but it's a shame that Tom isn't fighting Jones, but it's what happens when someone ducks you. But so that's that. And the final prediction of the year, Volkanovski to retire. I think Volk's going to retire. I think his fight against Topuria, regardless if he wins or loses, will be his last. I don't think he's going to continue after it. He's made a lot of money, I think, in the last 2 or 3 years. and I think he can call it quits and be safe financially, and he's kind of got a YouTube career that he can probably keep alive and keep a little bit of income coming in. And then, yeah, I think he will retire regardless, like I said. And then I guess another big fight you could make is Holloway will probably fight Topuria for the belt. I mean, let's be honest, those are the two best guys in the division. And I don't know if Topuria beats Volk, to be honest. I think it's going to be close. But regardless, Topuria will probably find himself back in a title shot not too soon after anyway, because he's going to beat anyone else in the division that I can think of, really. I don't think anyone's as good as those two. But yeah, Max Holloway will be fighting for the belt by the end of this year, I'm pretty sure, because I don't think anyone beats him except Volk. And Volk is getting old, and I think he's going to call it quits. So yeah, that is the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments down below what other fights you think are big and what you'd like to see this year. And I'll see you guys in the next videos.